All right, good morning. And what you're going to see a lot of over the next couple of days here as that we will be working on the air to try to get you the most accurate information. So what Felicia and I are doing right now is sort of analyzing the 5 a.m. update. But let's start with a look at Matthew here, and you can see pretty clearly that it is a tremendous storm. It continues to churn its way to the north of eastern Cuba. It might be hard to tell because a lot of the storm still looks like it's across Haiti, the Dominican Republic, even some of it sweeping across Jamaica with some of those outer rain bands. So that's what we're seeing this morning. But you'll also notice that some of the rainfall being generated by Matthew, these outer bands of rain, these lines of rainfall extend pretty far out from the center, which is right around this area here. If you look closely, you can see that little spin right there that is the center of the storm. And the eye is kind of hard to pick out right now. It kind of is being covered by a lot of cloud cover. It'll probably start to really redefine itself as it begins to move up through the Bahamas here. But there's a look at the bands of rain that are pushing up through the central and northern Bahamas. So as Matthew progresses up toward the north and northwest, those bands will continue to move out ahead of the bulk of the storm and begin to move into our area later on today. Now, this morning we got a little bit of rainfall around, but it's this afternoon when we'll start to see those rain bands moving in. As Mike and Ashley mentioned a moment ago, our entire viewing area under a hurricane warning, which means we could experience hurricane conditions within the next 36 hours as Matthew moves much closer to us. This is the 5 a.m. track, the new track from the National Hurricane Center. No really big differences here. Maybe some slight fluctuations in the speed of the storm, but really it's pretty much the same as it has been for the past couple of runs. Although it is moving a little more north now, but expected to take more of a turn to the northwest later on today. So Category 3 storm with winds of 125 miles per hour moving north at 10, but this area is so loaded up with warm water and with light wind shear, it is likely to re-strengthen back into a Category 4 storm as it moves up through the Bahamas. So here is tomorrow morning at 2 a.m. As it gets a little closer to us by tomorrow afternoon, we'll start to experience tropical storm conditions. Maybe by late morning, mid to late morning, we could already be seeing tropical storm conditions in our area. Remember, it's a massive storm. So even though the center is being designated by these little symbols here, it extends way out in every direction. Huge. Tropical storm conditions, tropical storm force winds extend out about 175 miles from the center or more. So as it moves up closer to us, and this will be Thursday night into Friday morning, that's when we could see hurricane conditions, and then that crawl up the coast of Florida during the day on Friday until eventually it turns up toward Georgia and the Carolinas, and our conditions will begin to improve on Friday afternoon. So Felicia, we haven't actually had to change too much in our breakdown of day by day here.
Right, because we've been keeping an eye on it, and we knew that especially as we head into late Thursday and early Friday, that's when we're really going to see those conditions at their worst. But let's talk about what you can expect today. Glenn showed you that we could see some of those outer rain bands moving in. 1 to 2 inches of rain possible, especially later today, especially where we see some of that heavy rain coming down. The winds are going to begin to get gusty out of the east-northeast, 15 to 30 miles per hour, and there is a slight tornado threat as we do encounter those bands moving on shore. By early Thursday into the early afternoon, especially late morning into the early afternoon, tropical storm conditions are possible. The winds are going to start to pick up, winds at 30 to 60 plus miles per hour. We're going to start to see that rain adding up as well. Local amounts of 1 to 3 inches. 3 inches of rain can add up very quickly when you have one of those bands moving through. And still tomorrow early on, there is a slight tornado threat. We start to see things really getting worse as we head into late Thursday night, and early Friday. So you can see here your time to really be prepared is starting to dwindle down very quickly. I can't stress this enough that you definitely want to be prepared even before we head into this, because conditions are going to continue to worsen. Winds are going to be peaking late Thursday into Friday, 60 to 70 miles per hour plus an additional 2 to 4 inches of rain and a moderate tornado threat with that. Conditions staying pretty bad as we head into early Friday. Winds out of the northwest 50 to 70 miles per hour, still several inches of rain. However, as we head through the day on Friday, we will start to see things improving, that tornado threat diminishing as Matthew moves farther away. But as it stands now, certainly late Thursday into early Friday looking the worst.